Vampires have been around forever, so Blade can be around forever as well.
I'm not going to name names, but there have been plenty of bad movie-to-TV adaptations, and we didn't want to do that at all. Our goal was to make this show better than anyone thought it could be.
It's not actually going to be that much different, I don't think. We'll see, though. Actually, it'll be fairly different.
You want to be loyal and true to everybody who's followed the predecessors. So it adds an extra weight.
I'm not sure about whether it will work or not.
I'm one tough. I can't say that, can I? Can I say ass?
We're not gonna be just going around in suits and just saying shoot and golly. It's still gonna have a lot of the same visceral stuff. It just won't be some excessive swearing.
I said I'm one tough-ass chick, period. I put a period on that.
You can show someone getting blown up, but you can't say the F word.
Flirted with doing a Blade show after Blade 2, but we knew that we were going to make a third film, so ultimately we decided to wait until after the third film. As soon as I finished filming the third film, while we were still editing, I had lunch with Jim Rosenthal and John Kroll, who are at New Line Television, and they said, okay, let's go for the Blade show. We still hadn't really decided on what the idea would be. Should it be a prequel with a young Blade? Should we just ignore the movies entirely? And what I decided ultimately to do was more like a crime TV show, and in a weird way our model for it was a little bit Sopranos and a little bit of an old television show called Wise Guy.
You're smart. Gotta check something out.
We're treating the vampires like the ultimate crime family, the ultimate mafia.
What the hell's in there?
Don't worry about it.
One of Goyer's thoughts, which I really liked, was to try to make it more kind of like The Sopranos or The Wire or something like that, a deep, dark conspiracy. So it's kind of a partial thriller, partial superhero movie.
Even if you guys gotta grab onto her as you're going up, holding onto her, that'd be fine. And just, if they do get you pretty good, struggle like crazy. Okay?
We wanted to get someone who wasn't just good with action. We wanted to get someone who was really good with character work, because we wanted the characters in the show and in the pilot to be more credible than people would expect. And I've known about Peter O'Fallon for a long time. He's directed 13 pilots. He wasn't necessarily the obvious choice, although he had done many dark things before.
I'm not a geek, and David didn't want to hire a geek because he liked the way that Batman Begins turned out. And the thing that I was impressed with Batman Begins is all the problems I always had with superhero movies, where that things weren't explained. And I thought they did a great job explaining it, and we're kind of doing the same thing on this one a little bit.
Okay, enough inspiration, a little perspiration. Let's go, Ernie!
Blade first arrived on the scene in '98, and it was a very hard R film. A lot of the action films have been kind of watered down and were very PC, and Blade was very uncompromising and stayed very true to itself and didn't pull any punches kind of cinematically, and people really appreciated that.
It's easier if you don't struggle, baby. Enjoy her, boys. A lot of blood in that bucket.
People will be wondering, can we pull that off in television as well? Can we be just that uncompromising? And so far with Spike, it's been great. They've been pushing us to go in that direction. It's definitely not going to be a kindler, gentler Blade on TV. We're going for something dark, dark, dark.
Okay, cut!
I think fans are understandably a little nervous about Blade being transported into television. I mean, first of all, Blade's always been played by Wesley Snipes, who did an amazing job. And unlike Batman, who has been played by numerous actors, so far Blade's only been played by one person. Casting a new Blade was incredibly difficult. The show's going to live and die based on who that new Blade person is. We auditioned a lot of unknowns, and Sticky came in very late in the process and blew everyone away. you know, there were 6 or 7 people in the room and everybody said, oh my God, that's the guy. It was just no contest. And I think as soon as people see him, they'll understand why. He's got that innate charisma that Wesley has where you just like watching him.
Yes.
When you're out there, you can see him, maybe a little smile.
One there too. And there.
I read this book called The 48 Laws of Power. One of the rules, or one of the laws, is avoid filling a great man's shoes. And nothing taken away from Wesley. He did incredible, insane on the part, but now we're doing it all different. And it's my own spin. Like, I think Wesley put more of a martial arts stints on it, where I'm putting like a little different tweaks to it. You gotta understand, Blade is a black dude. Ultimately, he's a street fighter, opposed to like a martial artist, you know what I mean? And he uses weapons, he uses his hand, he uses his feet, anything that he can use to destroy them.
Camera's here, comes in.
Kick, then you stab, go back, and then go back.
Swing her to you.
Yeah.
Flip over.
There you go. Yeah, just take those pieces. There you go. Oh, yeah. That was good, though. You usually went like that. That's good.
It's just a whole different outlook on it, I don't feel like I'm stepping into Wesley Snipes' shoes, but in a sense, I'm stepping into Blade's shoes. And if you read the comic books, the original first Blade comic book looks exactly like me.
Sword, that's next.
Yeah.
Sword, turn, we'll wait a beat, headbutts, and boy, we should keep the pace. Go ahead and do full speed, bam, kick off, wham. All right, so we'll go back to the struggle in the glasses, okay? One more time.
Kirk Sticky Fingers Jones, our lead who's playing Blade, I think initially there was a little nervousness about the rapper thing and about is it taking the show too street? I loved him. First time he walked in, I said, we're cast, we got the guy.
Do the big stand up on the, which was great.
That was cool.
Really good.
Among all the Marvel comic book characters, Blade was probably one of the darkest characters. Very conflicted, filled with self-loathing. Spider-Man, Captain America, they're classic heroes, but Blade is a classic anti-hero. What an anti-hero means is someone that is a hero in spite of themselves. He's not trying to become a hero just because of his own personal vendetta against the vampires. There's a sort of unexpected benefit for humanity.
He's a good guy, but he's a bad good guy,
Here we go. Yep. Ready and
I think the hero is cooler than the villains, which is very, very rare. Normally the villain gets to be the coolest person and the hero is squeaky clean, though virtuous. Whereas there's nothing virtuous about Blade. He's not a particularly nice guy and he'd gladly slap a mother in the face if she backchatted him. He's one of those sort of people.
Ultimately, he is a good guy, or we'd like to think he's a good guy.
And the other thing about Blade, I think people like, is he's just unsentimental. They always talk about how men have a hard time like expressing their emotions and things like that, and Blade is sort of the prototypical male in that regard.
I definitely think it's a good role model for anybody who doesn't want to be a superhero.
So one more pass with you. Well done, Mike.
So do I pause?
Well, for all of the Blade fans out there scared that it's going to series, they don't want it to be watered down. First of all, it's going to be worth the wait. And second of all, if you know any history that has to do with Kirk Sticky Fingers Jones, you know I would not disappoint you guys. And thirdly, it's time for a cute Blade anyway. Wesley knows I love him.
Having done 3 Blade movies, inevitably you toss around different ideas for what the second film might be or what the third film might be. I have a whole trunk of ideas that never made it into the films that we now have an opportunity to explore. And we can do things that we couldn't do in the movie, which is delve much more deeply into the characters, delve much more deeply into the vampire world.
You got a new spin on things, You can't keep things the same. All of the characters are new. Even bits of the storyline are new. The gist of it, you know, Blade, the vampire hunter, that's all the same, but there's no more Whistler. We have Shin, we have Krista, we have a new nemesis, Marcus. Everything is new. It's new and improved for the 06.
Right, now look up and see the boys. Right there, now start back.
Stop licking the gutter. You're a vampire now.
And then Jill, look, turn and look. They will be right here.
We're all kind of new blood to this. No one really knows where anyone sits. You don't know what Marcus is up to. You don't really know what Jill's side is on. The only kind of side you do know is that Blade is out there kicking ass. Everything else is up for grabs.
You could go off on a story about each character for God knows how long. I've even thought of a million things where Krista could possibly go. I don't know where the writers are going to take her, but there's a million different avenues that she could take. She could be good. She could be bad. She could be bad for a while.
There's more in-depth characters, there's more in-depth storylines. The personal relations are more complex because we don't have to tie them up within a concise amount of time. They can potentially be infinite.
While it does take place after the 3 Blade films, and it doesn't contradict any of the mythology that we've established, you don't have to watch the previous films to enjoy it. You can pick up just with this episode and understand everything that you need to understand. And in order to do that, I felt that we had to bring in an outsider. As she learns about Blade and the vampires, the audience can learn. It's sort of like a proxy for the audience.
What's this?
We also knew that we wanted someone who would work as a double agent for Blade. We had to have someone who would become a vampire.
All you have to do is die.
Krista Starr is probably like a dream character for a lot of women. She's strong. She doesn't back down to even Blade. She has so many arcs. And for me personally, I am a tough chick. But Krista has to go through some very vulnerable situations. The scene where I was in the white, I think they like to call it a dress. I don't really refer to that as a dress, but the thing that's strategically taped to me, and as soon as I bolted through the door and I get in the rain, I was just kind of numb. And then as soon as Peter would yell, cut, I was like, you know, my body would go back into normal Jill mode and I would realize how cold it was.
Jill, go back to the water real quick and don't dip your umbrella as much so I can see your face. Don't bring your umbrella down. All right, ready?
It was very good for my shaking effect, you know, acting like some kind of a crackhead. That scene was probably the one that I was most scared about doing, and everything was great and grand until he yelled, "We're going again." But, you know, I'm not dead.
Welcome to the family.
One of the hard things about playing her is that I've had to personally deal with letting my vulnerable side show so I can portray that through her.
Well, what happens on the very first show is a character, Krista, her brother gets killed, and then she encounters Blade.
She's broken. She's a broken person. She's been through war. She's seen death everywhere. Then to come back to her life to find out that the only thing that she really cared about, which was her brother, has now been murdered and taken away from her life, she kind of turns off. She has nothing to live for anymore, really. So she goes into this dark place. And when that happens, that's when she finds out about this crazy world that she had no clue existed. Isn't all this a little elaborate?
He likes the pretty lights.
She's not a victim, and I don't want anyone to see Krista as a victim because her brother was taken away from her, because, you know, she's thrown into this world of vampires, and because she's being turned and she's being pulled to the left, being pulled to the right. I mean, she is definitely not a victim. You're gonna see a lot of changes with her, and she's gonna be very up and down because she doesn't know, and she's not scared. She's very off balance. But as it progresses, she's gonna come into her own, and she's gonna own being a vampire, and she's gonna own being human, and she's gonna make them work very well and to her advantage.
Yeah, when people think about vampires, they probably think, you know, oh, he turns into a bat, you never see it, looking like Dracula. I think the Blade series is like bringing it to normal. Like, no, these could be the guy that you stand next to every day on the train and you don't even know that he's a vampire.
Ready and action.
The vampires in our universe are slightly different than traditional vampires. We put a new kind of spin on the whole vampire mythology. I remember at one point we were shooting and Peter O'Fallon called me on the phone and he said, "Can vampires see their own reflection?" And I said, "In the Blade world, yes." And that's a little bit different.
The great thing about vampirism is it's so prevalent all across history, different countries, and the different takes they all have. like between China, between America, Eastern Europe. It's all these real interesting kind of nuances that are different between vampires, but still similar. Some of them don't have any stakes or crosses or holy water. Some can die by, you know, just normal stabbing.
In Britain, it was believed that if a child is born out of wedlock, then that child would become a vampire.
My job on the TV show is just to be the keeper of the Blade lore and to be the one who is sort of quality control. And I'll say, you know, oh, no, vampires can't do that, or you're breaking this rule, or Blade would do this, or that's not the way Blade would handle this situation, so.
If you get even some, like that first bit you got, that's enough.
All right.
I think, because it looked pretty good, and I like your little squeeze. It makes it come out, and then,
And that's a great thing about this. It is sort of a mythology. It's unlimited. You can just keep going and just limited by imagination, really.
Our vampires aren't supernatural per se, they're more science-based. We've talked about vampirism being this kind of progressive virus, and we try to explain why they don't like sunlight and garlic and silver and things like that. They're actually a different species, and you know, when you become a vampire, it's a progressive virus that slowly changes your body and changes your organs around and things like that, and so it changes your DNA.
This girl's got a lot to deal with. She's got to deal with the physical part of being a vampire, body's changing, and then she's got to go through the emotional part of now she's become what she was wanting to destroy.
after you drink it on, look at the blood dripping. Turn to us a little bit.
Well, when she's turned, this stuff is going through her body. She doesn't understand. It's taking a hold of her. And the big fight sequence with Blade, I think Krista is more animalistic in her fighting. I'm kind of like, what is going on with my body? I have these fangs now, and what am I supposed to do with these? Can I bite him? Can I not bite him? You know, what are the rules?
Wait a minute. You turn her? That slacker's sister? It's my turn, Marcus. Then.
I can't go straight into camera.
Once you become a vampire, then you're not undead, you still have a heartbeat, things like that. If you have sex with another vampire, you can procreate. You can give birth to a baby vampire, which is something that never existed in any of the previous iterations of vampires.
What I'm gonna do, Bill, I'm sorry, I'm gonna step on this.
That's all right.
Enough. Leave him be.
Yeah.
I know you got...
Be a little wider.
Oh, Marcus!
In the movies, we tried to portray a little bit of moral complexity, and that's something that we're going to delve even more deeply into in the television series. And the fact is, the world isn't really black and white. You've got vampires that have been turned. Some vampires wanted to become vampires, but you've also got vampires that were born. They didn't ask to be born that way. So the question is, if a vampire's been born that way, are they necessarily evil to begin with, and do they deserve to die? And that's one of the things we'll be playing around with.
Everybody seems to think that vampires are evil, and that's it. Vampires aren't all bad, but they do have a struggle inside of them.
Well, that's an individual thing. Not all vampires are evil. People might think they're evil because they are bloodsuckers. But then again, cattle probably think that humans are evil too.
This series delves into each character on a more personal basis. That's the interesting part to me, is when you do see the human side of the vampires. You still have part of you.
The duality of every human being, which is we can love intensely and we can hate intensely, and we all make those choices about how we want to present ourselves.
Did Marcus change you?
No. My husband did.
When Chase is talking about how she got turned, there's a part of her that remembers about her husband, because that's how she got turned, and you can tell a little bit of hurt there, you know? So it's not that vampires don't feel, but after a while, they push who they were to the back of their mind. For Krista, she hasn't done that yet because she's just gotten turned, and I think she's really fighting this good and evil inside herself.
I guess my favorite scene in the pilot is the last scene where Blade finds Krista at the graveyard. Blade basically proposes that Krista be a double agent, and he gives her the serum. They make this proposition. She sort of grudgingly agrees to do it. She leaves, and there's this nice moment where Blade is watching her exit out of the graveyard, and Shen appears out of the shadows next to him, and he says,
What do you think?
and Blade says it could go either way. And that sort of perfectly sums up the whole Blade universe, because it's very dark. Either way means it might work, or I might have to kill her. And I just love that we leave the pilot on that note.
the end of the third movie, Blade was left continuing his work, but basically vampires have been vanquished. Now Blade is back. Obviously, all vampires haven't been vanquished, and he's met a completely different adversary. He hasn't met somebody like the Stephen Dorff character who's just Meghan Markle and wants to take over the world. He hasn't met somebody who just wants to destroy vampires and is evil.
I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to be doing here.
This guy wants to very much be a part of society, live within society, and enjoy all the trappings that his vampirism allows him.
They say you're the man who's gonna save Detroit.
Some do. And he's got everybody in his pocket. Everybody has become a familiar. He's got the chief of police, the mayor, so he's very much the moustache-tweaking, hand-rubbing villain that sits in the shadows, making sure that everything that he's moving is happening the way he wants it. When they were originally casting Marcus, they wanted a 45-year-old American. They called for me to come in, and reading the breakdown, I'm as chalk and cheese as it could be from the breakdown character. Went in, I was doing it in the American accent, got called back 3 times until I actually first met Peter. He said, just try it in your English. I just want to see what it does. And the moment I did the English accent, you saw everybody in the room just relax. It was like, okay, that's evil.
You can't hide forever. It's Detroit's great white hope. Stars, I've got a Renaissance movement 2 years ago. Restored a...
You've been around for hundreds of years. You can amass a great deal of wealth. You can become extremely powerful. But of course, you can't become a prominent figurehead. Because if you become known as a senator or something that powerful, what happens when 30 years later, you look exactly the same, you haven't aged? It's going to raise questions, and you don't want to bring up red flags that vampires really exist because we survived by living in the shadows. But yet he's coming out of the shadows and saying, I'm here. My face is in papers, on magazines. People are heralding me as being the savior of Detroit. Now what are you going to do, Blade?
I asked Van Sciver, there's a dozen other vampires that'll step up and take his place.
Normally, Blade can just go into one of their hideouts, destroy everybody. Society need know nothing about it, and everyone's safe from these pointy-fanged people. Marcus can't just be taken out. He can't just be defeated because he's known societally. So if you suddenly eradicate him, questions are asked. So Blade needs to basically topple my empire.
I hate vampires. I can't stand them.
What did you think of them before doing the film?
They were cool.
Traditionally, there was a lot of gothic trappings to vampirism. I wanted to do something different with that, so we came up with the vampires of the Blade world that are kind of like the ultimate in crowd. They're happy to be them. They're not filled with self-loathing. They've got access to money. We're going to be playing both sides of the fence in the television show. You know, obviously they're bad people, but just like with The Sopranos, in a weird way, you're also rooting for them not to get caught by the FBI and things like that.
Following the legacy they left.
The vampire community are broken into these individual houses, which are sort of like the individual crime families. And there's an overlord that sort of rules all of the houses, and each of those clans are a slightly different vampire family. The House of Erebus was one of the houses that we played with in the movies, and this is the House of Cthon. So these are institutions that have been around for thousands of years. And I had toyed around before with doing a movie that was about a war between vampire houses, and Blade was caught in the middle. We ended up not doing that for a feature, but that seemed the perfect opportunity to do for the first season of the Blade TV show.
Here at the House of Cthon, we're a bit more civilized.
What are you gonna do? Bite me?
Bite you. That's for savages.
They'll just syringe something and put it in a cup and drink it, opposed to just, you know, but those are the civilized vampires. They do have some that don't have any home training.
What is happening here, this is an upside down set, and this is the vampires jumping off the ceiling on top of Sticky. And so instead of rigging them on a ceiling and letting them drop, we flip the ceiling over and we're pulling them up.
Unbeknownst to Marcus's bosses, the Purebloods, Marcus has taken it upon himself to start investigating ways of gaining the powers that Blade has. He set up a laboratory where he's got vampires and he's testing on vampires and slowly building up vaccines and immunities so that he can then have the powers of Daywalker. He'll take very lowly vampires, stick them in a lab, strip them of all dignity, feeds them on hookers just to keep them barely enough alive, and all he wants them for is literally rat rats to do the tests on. Of course, they keep dying, they keep dying, they keep dying, but each time he gets closer to building up an immunity to whichever strain he's working on, and these poor lab rats are kept up in an attic waiting to die. It's kind of cruel, but that's the way he's working.
And when you die and your eyes open, stop breathing. Start to react, wiggle.
He's got a whole group of people underneath him, soldiers, workers, who fear him and fear him greatly.
And die. Excellent. We should do the smoke now on this one.
It's very much like society in a microcosm, all the way up to the generals, to myself, Marcus, who runs this covenant as one of the most powerful, but of course he then answers to the purebloods. So there's always somebody above.
Still.
Of course, you have the top level, the echelon of the classy, the debonair, and then you have the very low classes. And I think it's another protraction from real life, that even within vampires, there's a class struggle.
Do you want to do one where he looks to his left and comes back, as that's where Blade was?
We're here now, let's do it, yeah. Eyes.
I mean, that's the same with any species.
And still.
There's black people, there's white people, Jamaican, Haitian, Nigerian, you know. So the same thing with vampires. There's different shapes, colors, sizes, forms.
I'm 6'1", I'm very white. One of the ideas that we played with for backstory is that the last time the vampires really had an ascension and nearly took over was the Third Reich. So the idea that the Nazis were stemmed from vampires. I don't think we're going to play around with it in this, but it was just stuff we got talking through in discussion about the backstory, where these characters came from, that Marcus possibly, because he's been around for 180 years, would have been involved in various different factions of global domination. And of course, looking the way he looks, acting the way he acts, with his lust for power that he has, it makes sense that he would have been part of that faction.
He's here.
I know. Deal with it. Clean this mess up.
Marcus, let me take the new one.
No.
He's here. Let me serve you.
The way that Marcus is he has henchmen around him. Why would he raise a finger when he's got people to do it for him? He's got these two very vicious henchmen / women. Fritz, who is very trained, very loyal, very aggressive, and very big. On the other hand, you have Chase, beautiful, demure, angelic porcelain skin, but then these wide eyes that tell you that she's not quite as angelic as she looks underneath.
Just let me kill her and end this.
Hush, Chase.
I've never played a character this cold before and this strong before. Everything's deliberate. Every action, every look, every thought, it has meaning behind it. And there's a reason why she does everything and says anything. When the board finds out what you've been doing.
Don't question me, Chase.
They get to do all the beating up stuff. I get to lurk in the shadows, tweaking my moustache.
So, okay, you do that. You got this. You grab the gun.
Oh, then I'll just wait for Krista to come over. Yeah, I'll get the gun.
Are you looking like you're gonna go for? Because I go, enough, Chase.
Or it can be the fact that I'm struggling.
I'm enjoying you fucking with him.
You could take it out of his hand with your left hand and point it at him as you still got him here. Keep it down like that.
All right, it's just fun for me, yeah.
Nice. Block it and sort of move your body up. Yeah. And then you just buff and then step in. Or the foot whip.
Neil and David crack me up all the time, and it's outrageous how funny they are. They should have a show of their own. They are very funny guys.
The notion is that Marcus knew that he was going against the purebloods, so he needed to get some sort of bodyguard. So the idea that he came up with is he went into the biggest, baddest biker bar and found the biggest, baddest guy within that biker bar to become his bodyguard.
Marcus,
which is where, yeah.
I found some food in the garbage.
Okay, I'll be over there in a second.
Right.
All right, you enjoy
want to
yourself. No, I'm good. I've eaten. Okay, you doing an interview. Okay. Yeah, so we went into the big baddest biker bar and found the biggest, baddest guy that he could, and that's where Fritz. Yeah, I'm good. Seriously. Yeah, go back and deal with all the stuff you're doing. We're doing an interview.
An interview?
Yeah, doing it. And that's the thing came up, Fritz. So Fritz is Marcus's bodyguard.
My name is Fritz. I'm a good cook. My mother says hi to you.
Your mother's dead. You killed her.
Yeah, it was your fault. Hello. How old are you now?
I gotta be 187.
Yeah. It doesn't look it, does it? It's the moisturizing cream he uses.
The homoeroticism that's creeping into this between the creeping in.
He's heterosexual vampire, you know? I tried to turn him, but he turned me. I love you.
Kiss me like you mean it. Okay. Yeah, so that's Fritz, God bless him. He's like bodyguard / maid / lover. You know, kind of like the all-round man.
Well, this is like the Blade arsenal, you know? We got everything here from the UV glade. See, now this is the real one, because it closes it, but you can open it and I'm not gonna throw it at you guys, but you know. I could throw it 500 feet and it never misses a target. I would demonstrate, but it's close quarters in here. For all you people wondering how do they throw it on camera, this is how it's done. Can't be telling you all the tricks and secrets though. This is rubber, but don't even look rubber, look. See that? See how it's bent there? Straighten it back up.
That's the one that was just stuck into our lab rat vampire.
This is the one we could stick into people. You put it under their clothes and instant dead guy. Solid silver spike, take out any vampire instantly. You just have to insert it into the right place. Do a lot of damage. Nice and cold. Ooh. This is the little ones that I wear on my boots. Easy access, boom. Just tossing them all over the place. This is the UV grenade. It bursts light all over the place and just kills everybody in the room. Everybody vampire. Well, I got a great partner in this one. His name is Shin, not Whistler. Whistler's not here anymore. He's a cool Asian dude. And basically, he makes all of my guns. I found him when he was younger. I actually saved his life. And also, he wants revenge on the vampires too.
Do we get a chair for you? Yeah, let's give him something else to do here too.
A Rubik's Cube?
No, some work thing, like work on a gun or something.
Got some news. Van Shiver finished restoring some art gallery last week. And tonight, they're having a big party. Basically, he just wants to kill vampires. He wants to find definitely the one that killed his parents, and I think that's it. This is empty void, and he tags along with Blade because he's the guy that can make it happen. This revenge.
These are some of my favorites right here. Just a regular 9mm pistol that they put a whole bunch of stuff on. Clear, you know. There's nothing in the clip. Well, not now, you know?
And the idea is you come out, wham, blow the doors off. Straight down the middle, a little to this side.
Are we gonna blow these doors right off their hinges?
Let's go on the guns, please, bro. All guns are hot, full loads.
Sell it, Sticky. What? Sell it.
See, Mark.
We also have the plastic one, you know, that doesn't do anything, just... Earplugs. You need these shits on this set, bro. You go depth. You understand me?
What?
Huh? Yeah, so I can't hear a goddamn thing. Yeah. Safety first, always. It's always safety first, you know? You can get the shot later. Well, Peter might not feel that way.
Where we got the squibs all in the back wall and all that.
This wall and the wall at the other end of the hallway is going to receive gunfire from Blade and all the bad guys running around. So we've taken bricks like this, super soft. And so when it blows pieces, it's not going to hurt anybody because it just turns to powder. These bricks will blow apart that we're pre-rigging on the other side. We'll pop those out, pop new ones in, reload, rewire, and go again.
Look at this shit. They blew the whole setup.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
It's just another day on the set of Blade. This bad boy. This is one of my personal favorites. This is like an old German World War II flare gun.
Modified with these here 12-gauge barrels that they added on, but this whole part of it right here is original.
And it loads up with shotgun shells with silver on the end. Boom. Takes two. Does a lot of damage as well. These are my special glasses that Shin made for me. It has an earpiece on the side so I can hear him.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm not talking to you.
What?
A flip of a button over here, and I can hear the police frequencies. X-ray light, I could like see through walls, and I could see who's a vampire and who's not from their temperatures and their biosignature.
Blade, where are you? Who are you talking to? I think it's a new kind of take on it. Definitely not Whistler. Young, more prone to mistakes, more angry, fueled by kind of hate. Same kind of emptiness as Blade. Before you saw kind of a father-son relationship, this is more of two orphan children. French fry? One a little older, one a little younger, of course, me being a little younger.
Who's that? Don't.
But both sharing an emptiness that we hide.
Damn it, son of a bitch. Fuck!
And then you should go, fucking windows.
God damn!
These are the swords. It's like half sword, so you want to stick it inside somebody. And this is the retractable sword, you know, so I could actually stab a few people.
This is just an aluminum one, which is safe for close fights and stuff like that. Of course, our rubber one, an extremely sharp steel one that we have here for a couple scenes. We don't really keep that one around set too much.
We don't give it the sticky much.
No.
He's got the sword play down. I mean, it's funny, we're walking around the hotel, and every time I see him, he's got this wooden fake sword that he's swirling around with him. He never leaves his hand. He's going to dinner, he's got the sword. He's going to breakfast, he's going to the bar, he's got the sword. He's just keeping it in his hand, making sure it becomes a natural part of him as it would be the blade.
I went out and purchased my own sword, so I'm at home just like cutting through the walls and stuff, you know?
We got a couple of scabbards for him. This here is what he wears when he doesn't have the coat on. He's got the full length of the sword. But when he's got the long coat on, we just have the short one like that, which these little guys here fit into. Because then every time he bends around, it would look like he's got this big long tail sticking out of the back there.
That's movie magic.
That's where I come in handy.
I never take it out like that. It's always a cowboy switch.
Yeah, it's
you know?
this.
They put that in.
We're rolling, and then he takes.
You know, I'm supposed to take it out and go like this, and then we pause.
I run in, do that, and then second action, takes it out.
Finally, something I recognize. Kind of.
This is actually a calico, which has been modified.
Modified quite a bit.
Exactly, but for blade, this is my garlic gun. Except that's not garlic, it's onion. But shh, we won't tell nobody. Load that baby up, does the trick.
We'll get the initial effect happening. We'll do a big shotgun blast with squibs, and then visual effects will take over. He'll gurgle up into a pool of black tar kind of thing, and that's when we shoot an actual pool of black tar.
Those are vampires.
This garlic gun is new to the series. It's something that wasn't seen in the feature before. Here's something that we can really sink our teeth into, haha, but really develop and make cool for the show. Unlike the ashing, which is very light and airy, this is more of a burn melt. Maybe it's like lava, maybe it's like wax. It has to flow. You come up with a combination of effects and layers to create the look.
And Blade is not a dope fiend, but this blue stuff is called hemoglobin. I inject myself with this, keep the thirst in check.
The whole aspect of bloodthirst throughout vampirism, there's kind of this nod towards drug addiction, if you think of it, if you will. They need it. They need the blood. That's one weakness that Blade has, the thirst. The shooting up with the serum. It's almost like that.
What? I got hungry too. I miss those inhalers.
I'm working on it.
Work faster.
Dude, the serum that keeps the thirst away is easy to replicate, but those inhalers work on a totally different system.
Figure it out. Figure it out. You're supposed to be the smart one.
I'm the good-looking one, too.
We got some new things like a shotgun, of course the garlic gun. We got this big thing called a fat lady, which is extremely heavy to lift. And it's like a supersonic bomb.
Here we go.
I'm excited to see the new kind of weapons that we're gonna be getting in here, that I'll be developing. Sometimes I kind of brainstorm with like what kind of weapons that we could come up with. Usually my ideas are pretty stupid, but that's why I'm not the writer.
All right, give him a pull first. You want to stand underneath it? Stand underneath, directly underneath the ship? Give him a pull up, yeah.
So this is Matt. Matt's gonna be, he's hooked up in two places. He's hooked up at the base of his neck, under his armpit. We've got Chad and Kirk over there. We're gonna pull him forward to the column. This is all in theory, by the way. And then Ron and Corey are going to pull him that way, right? Change direction. He's gonna come off this column, change direction, go this way. We're breaking it down right now. We're just gonna do the first pull, getting into the column before we add the second element to the jump. Here we go, Matt. We're
Do this.
Okay,
so we're gonna take
what's going to happen here, Matt?
Yes, sir.
You're probably going to hit the very edge, so be careful.
Time is always an essence, right? Features, you always have a lot more time to do things. A scene like we're going to attempt here, and a feature would probably take, they may take a week to 2 weeks to shoot it, and we're going to try and do it in a day, day and a half. So that's always the problem with us.
3, 2, 1, go.
Good stuff. Okay, you don't need to pull them that hard. And the other problem is the actual logistics of where it's happening. Being in a place like this, we couldn't screw into the ceiling because nothing would stick in there. So yeah, it's been a problem.
3, 2, 1, go.
What happened? I have a place called the Action Room, and that's where a bunch of the stunt guys train. We work with actors and stuff there. They were graceful enough to give us some rehearsal time at my place, and that helps a lot. We've kind of gone through some of these gags already. It's just a matter of adapting it.
3, 2, 1, go.
What you need to do is think of this collision like a punch, so that, because last time he was coming, and you backed out of the way, and he was just sitting right there all by his own, right? If you get within his distance a little bit.
Felt like I was right on target.
Yeah, you were.
All right? That's pretty good. Okay, moving on.
We've been rehearsing the fight scenes for weeks now. It's several fight scenes. So we rehearse some of this one, then rehearse some of that one, then we rehearse this one, and da-da-da-da. And all of the fight scenes are different. Some require wire work, some don't.
How you doing, man? So you know what we're doing in the scene?
We're fighting.
Good guess.
Some actors like wire work, some think it's akin to death. I actually love wire work. It kind of came natural to me. I'm an athlete, so I catch on quick. Exactly what's the landing?
Whatever you want to make it.
Oh, gotcha.
And then this is the bicycle. Fuck that.
Not ideal.
If the bicycle thing ain't feeling good for you, there's that, or you can don't step, just go and work on arch. It's a whole another look, right? That works too.
It's more fun than work, as long as the wires don't pop.
3, 2, 1, go. That felt good. You nailed that one. That's what you did the first time. I bet you will nail that one again.
Go.
Good stuff. You punctured my pad, didn't you? Yeah, I knew it. I knew it.
Ready, and action.
With this script, the action's on the paper. David Goyer, the writer, or one of the writers of this particular pilot, he wrote quite descriptive of the action. I read it and then just kind of adapted what he was saying, and at some points, did a little alteration, but basically it's mapped out.
We're doing this in at least half the time and probably a quarter of the budget that most of the features were done on.
All right, let's try it again. Here we go.
So the pace that you have to go at to make it all work is pretty remarkable, although I like to work at that pace.
I'm not your brother. The one of you.
And we are about to go right now.
Thank you.
I don't care what's happening. Pick it up. We're moving now. All right. Outside, go. Okay, let's go.
We're shooting this 2-hour pilot in about 25 days, and we shot the last Blade film in 85 days. So we're shooting this in high-definition video, which means we can move a lot faster, but it would still amount to us shooting it in about half the time with about half the resources. Nevertheless, I think the audiences are going to be surprised, even for television, how much we were able to pull off with the action and fight sequences.
In, chamber, and then you're back at it again.
Okay, can I try it?
So. Tomb Raider.
Okay. God, that was my favorite. Lara Croft.
Now try
Krista
it.
Starr.
I think you got the spin good. It's like that, dump.
Yeah, I want to do it
Anyway.
one-handed.
It is. It looks cooler, and then this at the same time
That's
as
what
you're
we
dumping,
care about, is what looks
the
cool.
look cool factor, all in one movement. Nice. Even better. See?
Yeah, I like that better so it doesn't
yeah.
look like I'm struggling.
Yeah. On your first shot is going to be your hardest shot. It's the hardest pull, but as you're firing, the gun is resetting itself. So after that,
So
then
after
it's
the first.
only, the next 14, if you do, are just going to be as fast as you
So
pull
how
that
many
trigger.
there? How many there?
They hold 15.
15 rounds.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with guns. I'm just not comfortable aiming them at people.
Jill has really kind of embodied the character, which I think is great, and she's done a fantastic job. Particularly, she was fairly green at this and was new at this, and she's just really stepped up and made it work. I'm trying to change the fight situation. I can't stand the fights where the guy takes a swing and the other guys are waiting for the swing. So I'm trying to eliminate that aspect of it and make it seem like it's mayhem, so that when it comes in, it's kind of like a fight that, you know, to some extent happens in real life, that it all comes at it way too quick and way too fast. So I tried to collapse all of the little beats in between, so it'll be this very intense, very quick, very vicious battle that will happen and then end quickly.
Okay, now that's the other place I like to compress. So don't try to go right into it.
Okay, so
Push right into the spin of the kick.
Gotcha.
One more time, ready? And go. Bam, now start your spin now. Bam, perfect.
The fight scenes are very much like dance scenes, and you do have to really trust the person that you're working with, because if they make one move, I mean, because everything has to be, it's very precise, and I had never done any of this stuff before, but I had taken dance, so that's probably why I caught on so good.
Okay, let's go again.
It is a dance. It is choreographed, you know, because you don't want to hurt the other actor, but you want to make it sellable and believable. So it's a in-depth choreographed dance with fight moves and weapons and wires and stunts and blood and guns and action, 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 action.
And it does look really good on camera, especially if the person you're working with can sell the hit. Makes you look very strong.
You're only as good as your dance partner, and that's what we look at it. You could be the greatest martial artist, but if you don't have a partner that's taking the punches right and working with you, it doesn't work.
there's always interesting challenges on the day. You know, you're in different shoes. You've got a few other things to worry about, but yeah, it went good. And once you cut it into pieces, it looks awesome.
Do you like Mr. Fangs? I didn't hear it. Katya gave me Mr. Fangs. Hi. She killed him.
Yeah, in my spare time.
She killed him.
Hey, have you done your interview yet?
I think that's time.
I think it's time.
No.
Tell me your name.
Hi, I'm Katya.
Tell me what you do.
I do the costumes. I make sure nobody runs around naked.
Yeah, right. Except for me.
Except for her, right?
Hello, we're just stripping.
That's okay.
Trying on the costumes. How's that for you? Spike TV, it's for men, not women. For men.
She's the one that's responsible.
For making us look
Fabulous.
Thanks, and I'm so shy.
Compliments to the wardrobe department. I was totally in character instantly, you know? It takes me at least 15 minutes to put all this stuff on.
We had a series of props that they wanted to keep from the trilogy, and so we needed to figure out where those props would go. We wanted them all to be very visible so that it made sense of where he pulls them out of or where the stakes go, and how would it be practical to put the stakes on his boots, maybe. It's also a very cool move for him to go down and spike somebody, so we were really just having fun, I think, but under a lot of time pressure, too.
They made a brand new coat. They made it from scratch. It's not just an ordinary trench coat like the others, you know what I mean?
This is his coat, and we kept the motorcycle collar on it, kind of Harley Davidson, just to give Blade the toughness. And then we played around with different fabrics in the body so that the whole coat wasn't just leather. I really wanted him to have the different depths because there's different depths to his character. And we played around with neoprene fabric because of its stretchable materials, so this way we were able to make the coat very fitted to Blade's body. Peter really wanted to incorporate muscle somehow so that he would look a little superhero-ish but very understated at the same time. So we added this quilting onto the neoprene to give that illusion in the front and in the back too. This was kind of an idea that never got developed, but it still looked cool, so we left it based on military pockets. It incorporates the leather jacket, the muscle of a superhero, and the military in a way, because he is fighting a war. When he swooshes around and kills the vampires, I wanted him to have a full swing of the coat. But when he's on the motorbike, I knew that it was going to be a problem because the skirt would catch the wheels. And so we added these vents that actually separate the skirt into 3 parts, and this comes completely out. And so into that one, we added these straps that actually attach to the legs, the strap, so that then it doesn't move and it's safe and he can do all his things without crashing. Well, Chris is very fascinating because she does go from being just a regular girl in the army into this amazing vampire heroine.
She comes home in her jeans and her sweatshirt, you know, and her ponytail, and by God, by the end of this thing, she's this. She's trashy, isn't she? She's a harlot.
She's absolutely gorgeous, so pretty much you could put a potato sack on her and she would look stunning. When she gets transformed and dropped, she crawls through the morgue. And that initially was supposed to be a nude scene of her crawling in the body bag because when people are stored in body bags, they're supposed to be nude. And then with Peter, we started talking about the sexiness of having something covering, but barely there. So we developed the barely there dress. It looked like at any one point it could fall off of her, but it was glued on pretty much, even in the rain and everything. I think that it would take us about a good 30, 40 minutes to get her into this one outfit every day.
When they first put me in vampire clothes, I got really uncomfortable because vampires like to show you skin. Jill doesn't like to show you skin. I don't like that. I get very introverted when I show skin.
I actually wanted the audiences, when they look at the vampires, I wanted them to really feel like it's such a cool thing to be, and why all these familiar humans that are running around are wanting to be vampires. So it had to be like the best designer clothes. They would be the only ones who are wearing leathers and furs and exotic animals, whereas everybody just kind of aspires to do that. So if we see a human like our streetwalker cat wearing a fur, hers is plastic and it doesn't quite compare. I wanted to do on humans textures and fabrics and a lot of the patterns that you would never see on a vampire. So using a plaid shirt was the perfect example of that. The texture is warm, it's very soft in fabric. Browns and jeans are very human. Corduroy, I don't know if you've noticed, but whenever you see vampires, all their collars just happen to stand up straight in the back for the coolness.
I'm just doing my best to keep this city alive.
Once I do the fittings with the actors, my initial meeting with them is to just get to know them, like who they are, how they move, who they think the character is.
Marcus was turned in 1837. We were going to go very much with that sort of style of clothing, very much muslin, linen, frills, lace. We moved away from that, but we've gone now with more sort of Hugo Boss, Armani suits. Because he's managed to abscond himself so perfectly into society, he'd have to fit in very well, which means he'd take on whatever are the fashions of the time, but take it to an elite level.
With Marcus, I still wanted to have a little bit more of the 18th century feel, and so we added lace to the bottom of it, just to give him a little bit more elegance that way. And it also mirrored his 18th century shirt that he had when he was being turned as a vampire. So it always reverted back to that moment and where he came from.
You will take her on a ride along, and you will teach her, and you will dress her.
Chase is so petite and beautiful and porcelain that she really reminded me of the 1920s. And I thought, well, what if Marcus met her in a speakeasy bar and turned her? And she's got a lot of jewelry because I wanted the idea that she's really enjoying her vampirism.
Every time I kill somebody, I take a piece of their jewelry. Only if I like it. I mean, I'm not going to take rubbish. And so I've collected all these jewels from people over the years. On that note, I was reading about vampires and they're quite obsessive creatures. The fact that everything needs to be just right, like flawless. Everything has to be flawless.
It's a double so that you get a thicker knot. Because as a vampire, you would care about stuff like that. And then we raise it up high, and then when you wear your jacket, even though it's a little bit shorter, it's not gonna show, just to give you a little bit more of a crisper look.
Cool.
Great. Thank
Thanks
you.
very much.
Thanks. See ya. Great. So that was me in action.
Well, my tattoos, they do them every day, every time I come to set. It doesn't take too long. You know, it probably takes some 20 minutes the most to throw them on. When I'm not wearing a jacket, I have a little more tattoos that go down my arm, so it's a little bit more work on those days. But they have some more extensive tattoos where like the dude's whole back is done and it's different colors and 10 hours worth of work.
We're cheating in this step. We're using felts because it'll have a longer staying power and it's faster for him so he doesn't have to sit here while we mix all the paints up and stuff like that. I think we're only gonna have him for about 4 hours.
Can you make this a little deep, like about there? We're gonna stab and we might get a little
Absolutely.
of that, you know, going.
Oh, of course.
Looks great. And what color is the Panther gonna be?
It's gonna be an aged blue black.
Okay, great. Wow, good tattoo.
Vampires have familiars. They've got humans that do their bidding during the day, and one of the ways that they keep tabs on everyone is they have these glyphs, these vampire markings, and there's one for each house. Zach Starr, one of the characters whose death sort of puts everything into action, he belonged to Marcus, and so Zach Starr has a glyph on his neck, and that means he's that person's property, he belongs with that house, and that tells the other vampires to stay away.
Can you see it? Relax your eyes. Pull your focus back.
There are safe houses and establishments that only cater to vampires, and sometimes they'll have these markings in plain sight, and a vampire knows, okay, if I'm in trouble and daylight's coming, I can go there, and they can see the markings of the glyph, but of course, the humans can't.
How's it feel?
It hurts.
Good tattoo always does. It's not a butterfly in a bikini line. Some 5-minute shit like that.
Tell me more, Romeo. Now, unless you want me to call the alphabet to push your ass.
Okay, let's cut. Go again, right away, please.
Sticky, you ready for the big fight scene with Chuck Liddell?
I get to kick the Ultimate Fighting Champion's ass. I'm definitely ready. But hopefully he don't have flashbacks and shit, you know. Think it's real and he in the ring or something. Then I might have to do one of these.
I'm pretty good at pulling stuff if I accidentally hit someone, because it happens sparring sometimes. Sometimes you kick some guys too hard or you didn't mean to, you know, but you pull it on the end, you know, and so it's not as much force on it. But yeah, I could see where you accidentally, you know, you'd be get in the middle of something, a big fight scene, and accidentally hit the guy for real. But they know how to do this stuff well, you know, and it's something I'm learning from them. It's how to do the stunt of fighting. It's totally different than actually fighting. A lot of stuff that I would do for a real fight doesn't quite transfer onto film that way.
One of the first things we taught him was to make eye contact with your partner that you're fighting with, because if your partner isn't looking at you, you can throw anything in the world, but if he's not reacting to it, it looks very awkward.
And then the spin. When I got here, they'd choreographed everything except for what was going to happen from the chair to get to the wall. Because originally all that happened was he stabbed the guy in the back and threw him to the wall. And so there was no real fight between him and the tattoo guy.
Yeah, hey, Ernie, when is his next beat?
One of the first things I asked him was, what is your favorite technique? What are you known for? And it was his big right hand, so definitely we put that within the sequence that we did. And when we were blocking it, he threw this very professional-looking Thai sort of knee, and I said, well, we got to put that in there. It just looked good, so it sort of developed because of what he does and what he liked to do at the time and the time that we had.
Tell me more, Romeo. Now, let's go. You tell me the names of the scum you called this on. Fuck you.
Get him off.
You know, knowing he's a tough guy, we did a throw with him, and he was totally into that.
What do you want to know? I'll tell you.
That's a cut. Okay. We've cut. Ready to go again?
Yeah. At the end of it, we had this big wire throw, and I originally thought, you know, it's Chuck Liddell, he's a tough guy, he can do it. But then when you start thinking about it, reality is if we do tweak him, it wouldn't have been good. But he was willing to do it. He was, I can do that.
Give him a nice long stroke, and if you see him getting up too high, drop him quicker. Yeah. Okay, just let him go.
Pullers, you ready?
Ready.
Chad, ready. Sticky,
Ready.
here we go. 3, 2, 1, go!
What? I didn't hear.
Now, what is harder, the real thing or faking it?
Faking it. I love fighting. I mean, people say, oh, isn't it easier doing movies? No, it's not. I love fighting. I love getting out there. You can tell me right now, go out and fight. All right, cool. That's just natural to me. I don't get nervous at all.
I think I get about 20 frequent flyer miles for that. 50 or 60 more of those, I'm going to Florida.
All right, shall we shoot
This
it?
stuff, I get nervous. I'm sitting there, you know, I'm sweating a line I had memorized 3 days ago.
So all I want you to do is put your fingers right on that ring and yank it.
I just don't like not being great at something.
And action. Ah! Okay, stay right there. Put some blood in there. Okay. And action. Ah! Ah! One more time. And when you look at your hand, don't lean up. And action. Ah! And get out.